Okay, we should be live here. 1 second. I gotta pull up some stuff on the screen because apparently something's going on here. There we go. What's going on, everybody? Welcome in. Patrick, how you doing today? Looks like I'm having a little bit of difficulties with my stream on my end of things, so hopefully things go smoothly, but not sure what's going on. Worked great yesterday. No issues whatsoever, and now today it seems to be acting up, so hopefully you guys can hear me loud and clear. If you can, let me know in the chat, and we're going to go game by game here, break this thing down, give you guys the top picks, answer any questions that you have, go over some injury news, all of that fun stuff. So, yeah, excited to get into it. And I guess we could start with a little bit of a game-by-game breakdown. And then go from there. So, we do have 3 games that were canceled. Going to have some usage opening up because of it. We just got some confirmation that there is indeed no Mr. Holmes on the Sacramento Kings, so that is obviously a big piece of news. That's going to open up more usage across the board for a guy like a Maytu and also a guy like a Tristan Thompson, so we'll get into that. We are also waiting on the Tyler Hero news still, which is obviously going to be a big piece of news because if he is indeed out, that's going to give a big bump up to other guys on the Miami squad, so that is definitely a relevant piece of news. And we also do have a sponsor of the program if you are new here, Parlay Play, and I have a pick for you guys today for the Parlay Play Bankroll Challenge, the KJK DFS Parlay Bankroll. Today, I'm going to take the over for D'Angelo Russell, the over for Kristaps Porzingis. D'Angelo Russell is my lock of the night. Absolutely love the pick tonight. And Kristaps Porzingis, with there being no Luka Doncic, should get a big bump up in usage. I have both of these guys projected for 40 points, and if you look at their stuff over on Parlay Play, their lines are only at the high 20s and low 30s. So I'm certainly going to be taking full advantage of that because that's just too low of a line on both of those guys. So both these guys I'm locking in. I'm doing a $25 pick for the Parlay Play Bankroll Challenge. Feeling very, very good about it. And I already locked mine in, so head on over to Parlay Play. Use the promo code KJK003 to get your instant deposit match up to $50. They're also going to give you dollars to play with right off the bat. And all you have to do is use my link, which I will put in the chat right now. And you'll instantaneously get that $10 risk-free entries. And you also will get the instant deposit match up to $50 when you do deposit today using my link. So this is going to be my pick today. Feeling very, very confident about it, as I said, because this line's just too low. I have both these guys projected for 40-plus fantasy points, so it seems like an easy win to me. $25 max entry over there. And lock it in, guys. Like I said, I already locked mine in. D'Angelo Russell over. Kristaps Porzingis over. $25 all in. 3x. That's going to give us $75 towards our bankroll for the Parlay Play Bankroll Challenge. So let's do a little bit of a game-by-game breakdown. We'll get into some of this injury status news, all of that fun stuff, and figure out where we're going for our lineups today. We are still waiting on the Tyler Hero news, as mentioned in this first game. One of the worst game environments on the slate, I will say, a slower-paced game. Some of the games later on the slate are going to be a much better game environment, so something to keep track of. But if there is indeed no Tyler Hero, again, we're going to be taking a hard look to a Gabe Vincent, who's been getting a big bump up in usage, a big bump up in minutes, so going to like him a bunch. Also, Kyle Lowry at the top at 8.3 would become a tremendous play as well. It's really just a matter of, do we want to pay this price tag in, like I said, one of these slower-paced games on the slate? Because when you're looking at the total in this game does come in right now with a 207.5 over-under with a 7.5 point spread in favor of the Miami Heat. So, obviously not exactly the fastest-paced game on the slate. There's some other games that we're going to talk about here as we continue to go along the slate that are going to have a faster up-paced tempo, so certainly something worth noting, and it's really just a matter of, do we think that it's going to be worth paying this much for Kyle Lowry? I like D'Angelo Russell quite a bit. It's in a faster up-paced game, that, like I said, my lock of the night, so maybe someone that you could be looking to over Kyle Lowry, and he is a perfect example of someone that I would possibly be looking to, so some of these games. We have 226.5 over under in the San Antonio Spurs Kings game we'll get to next. I know there's some games canceled, but the Trailblazers Memphis game is going to run faster. The Charlotte Hornets and Phoenix Suns, the Bulls, the Lakers dealing with some injuries, so there's going to be a bump up in usage to a lot of guys in that game. So I'm not too sure that I'm going to be prioritizing this first one all too much. Cade Cunningham, Kyle Lowry, definitely the top plays. You could also be taking a hard look to Sadiq Bey, who's getting a big bump up in usage recently with the injury to Jeremiah Grant. However, Sadiq Bey's priced up pretty efficiently over on DraftKings. On FanDuel, he's a lot cheaper over here. Looking at Sadiq Bey's price tag, he's only $4.9 on FanDuel. So it might make a lot more sense to go to him over here on FanDuel. But regardless, decent play. Slower paced game, though. Not getting too intrigued about too many pieces in this game. You have Dwayne Dedmon and Isaiah Stewart, both the starting centers. Dwayne Dedmon with Bam Adebayo continuing to be out. If you want to go to him, I wouldn't call you crazy. But I definitely think there's some better options, specifically in that Sacramento Kings game with Richaun Holmes being ruled out. We will talk about that. All right. So Larry says, I can hear you. Holmes out. Yeah, Holmes is out. We'll get to that. Please smash the like button. Patrick says, yeah, guys, hit that like button. Would greatly appreciate it. Trying to get to 20 likes on all of these streams. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell if you haven't already. San Antonio Spurs taking on Sacramento. This is the second game on the slate. I'm going to have a lot of interest in this one. We did just get confirmation that Richaun Holmes is indeed out. So that means that even more usage is going to go around to these Sacramento guys. Halliburton, Harrison Barnes, both going to play a lot of minutes. Both going to be relied on heavily in the usage category. And both aren't priced up enough for their new respective roles, I'd say. Halliburton at 6'9" has plenty of upside, like I said, in a faster up-tempo game here compared to some of these other games like the one we just talked about with a 226.5 over-under. I think he's going to certainly have a lot of upside for you, and the same role can be said for Harrison Barnes. 6'3", that's just not priced up enough for a guy that's playing in the mid-30s minutes. There's no Richaun Holmes. There's no De'Aaron Fox. There is no Marvin Bagley. There's no Terrence Davis off the bench. There's no Alex Len, and there's no Davion Mitchell. So we're not even worried about the guards getting their minutes snubbed from a guy like a Davion Mitchell off the bench. They're just that shorthanded. So you're certainly going to want to take advantage of it. So yeah, it's all going to start with Halliburton. Harrison Barnes, I have a lot of interest in. Buddy Hield's a little bit more of a versatile option. That could certainly pay off for you big in tournaments, though. While he can be inconsistent, he does have a lot of upside when he gets hot from behind the arc. We saw him play 37 minutes last time out on DraftKings specifically, where you get that 3-point bonus. He certainly makes sense to me. And like I said, he's going to be highly versatile, but when he is hot, he's going to, really have big upside games. And this is a game environment where he could. And like I said, we're not worried about these guys stealing his minutes that we would be, guys like a Marvin Bagley, a Terrence Davis, and Alex Len, and Davion Mitchell that sometimes this coaching staff has randomly thrown in. And we now have Maytu and Tristan Thompson, both going to get big minutes at the big man position, both priced in the mid 4K range on DraftKings, and both are going to be tremendous values. With there being no Richaun Holmes, they're both going to make a lot of sense. Both produce at a very high rate. Looking on my sheet as far as how they produce on a per minute basis, I'm going to have to pull this up. I had to restart all of my stuff when the stream started up. Let's see. Arizona says, love Bridges and Ayton on FanDuel. Yeah, I don't hate it. Like I talked about, I think there's definitely some teams that are dealing with some injuries that you're going to want to capitalize on playing a lot of, the Sacramento Kings being one of them. We'll get to some other guys. On the San Antonio Spurs side of things, running it back, it's very simple. It's going to be DeJounte Murray, Derek White, Jakob Poeltl, and Keldon Johnson. Would really focus in on those guys. We did just get some news coming through that Vassal's going to start, I believe. So Vassal now is in the starting lineup for the San Antonio Spurs instead of Doug McDermott. So that's some news that you certainly should take a note of. And he maybe becomes a little bit more of an intriguing play in a pretty fast up-tempo game here at only 4-1 on DraftKings. Maybe he's someone that you're looking to for some value on this slate today. And certainly does make a lot of sense to me. At 4-1, let's see. On my DraftKings sheet over here, as far as his fantasy point production, on a per-minute basis here, Devin Vassell is putting up 0.92 DK points per minute. So pretty much almost 1 DK point per minute. Now he's getting put starting in the starting rotation, and we're not worried about the Sacramento defense whatsoever. As if we were worried about them before, now they're even more shorthanded. So he's someone that could certainly be an intriguing value play now that maybe not everyone quite catches on to now that he's in the starting rotation. Maybe a little bit of a sneaker play for you in your tournaments. And other than that, though, on the Spurs side, I've been really trying to stick to this main core four. Like I said, DeJounte Murray, Jakob Poeltl, Derek White, and Keldon Johnson. They're all the ones getting the most minutes. They're getting the most usage, and they're producing at the highest rate. and it's consistent across the board. I continue to say that Keldon Johnson and Derek White seem to be a little bit negatively correlated, in my opinion. It seems as if when Keldon Johnson has a big game, it takes away from Derek White. When Derek White has a big game, it takes away from Keldon Johnson. So I would recommend probably only going with one or the other of those two guys. Jakob Poeltl and DeJounte Murray seem to be a little bit less impacted by that. But obviously, the more that one guy's scoring, it takes away from the other guy. You can't get as much upside, etc. So Portland taking on Memphis. Definitely have some interest in paying up for Damian Lillard in this game. There's no CJ McCollum. His usage is going to be through the roof. He's going to continue to really carry the load for this Trailblazers offense as long as there is no CJ McCollum. So I would certainly suggest that you're playing him in your daily fantasy sports lineups tonight. Especially over here on FanDuel. He's priced very friendly. 9.7 over there on DraftKings. As far as FanDuel is concerned, I believe you have him at a $1,000 discount. Yes, he's only 8.7 over here on FanDuel, so it's certainly going to make a lot of sense for me on a site like FanDuel, where you can take advantage of the pricing discrepancies and the cheap price tag. You know, it's obviously going to be a great play for him. At only an 8.7 price tag on FanDuel, he should be pretty easy to be fitting in your lineups as well. So I think that he is certainly a reasonable play on the FanDuel slate tonight. And these Memphis guys as run-back options, Jaren Jackson, Dylan Brooks, Desmond Bane. Once again, a very solidified rotation with there being no Ja Morant. It's kind of a core four, once again, similar to the San Antonio Spurs. You have Jaren Jackson Jr., Dylan Brooks, Desmond Bane, and Tyus Jones. Those are really the ones I'm looking to get exposure to. And the last guy would be Steven Adams, priced down to 4.9, who's continuing to see his minutes climb. He's been up to upwards of 30 minutes this last couple times out. Continues to see his minutes climb. I'm going to have a lot of interest with him, and a guy that's priced, you know, in the upper 4K range of starting center. He makes a lot of sense to me if you're running it back in this game. Larry Nance Jr. is a guy that's been a little bit disappointing, but he has seen in the mid-30s minutes, and he has been starting. Only 18 and 19. I think it's just a matter of time before he goes off, and this Memphis squad has not been good defensively, so if there's ever a time for him to go off, I do certainly think that this could be the game that he does do so. So for that reason, if you want to take some shots on Larry Nance Jr. in your tournament lineups, I don't think that's a bad idea whatsoever. And I would certainly be having some interest in him on this slate tonight from a tournament play aspect. Once again, it can be a little bit risky, but I think it's a risk that could pay off in a big way for you. So someone that I would certainly be taking a look to on the slate tonight. Okay, so then these are the three games that are postponed. Pelicans, Philly, Cleveland, Atlanta, Denver, Brooklyn, so we can kind of skip over them. The LA Lakers taking on Chicago. We have confirmation that Anthony Davis is going to be out for quite some time. That is going to make LeBron James and Russell Westbrook absolute usage monsters. LeBron James would certainly be my favorite option of the two. I have him graded out as the top scoring guy on the slate for me tonight, so I certainly have a lot of interest in Mr. LeBron James. And as far as Russell Westbrook, I think that he's a great play as well, but Russ can just be a little bit inconsistent. You know, it's just he's been a little bit rough this year. For that reason, maybe his ownership comes in lower than it should be, and you can get a lot of exposure to him. But if I'm having to pick between these two guys, I'm picking LeBron, and it's not even close, although he's $400 more. I'm willing to pay that $400 more without even thinking about it because I just think he's that much better of a play. He's going to go into takeover mode here and really put on a show, I do believe. And on the Chicago side of things, there is no Zach LaVine, so that's going to give a bump up to DeRozan, Lonzo Ball, Nikola Vucevic. One less guy out of the rotation taking away from their usage, and I also will make Alex Caruso a very solid play in the mid-range at 5.2 over here on DraftKings. So if you want to go to him, I certainly think that he is an intriguing play. Taking on his former team in the LA Lakers, he got a couple extra days for rest. I know he was dealing with an injury there for a little bit, so that might help his case in a pretty big way. So I do think that he's a pretty intriguing play in the mid-range. And then on the Lakers side of things, with it being so short-handed, we got confirmation that Kent Bazemore was ruled out today as well. So I think that's going to make Carmelo Anthony a fantastic play at 4.2 over here on DraftKings. I think he's a pretty reasonable play on FanDuel as well because they're just too short-handed. So you go to him. And the other thing on the Chicago side of things is they did get two guys returning in Javonte Green and Kobe White, both priced in the mid 3K range. Both could be intriguing options in your tournament lineups. Of the two, as far as how they produce on a permanent basis, looking at their permanent production on the season so far, over here on my sheet at 3.5 and 3.4, you can see that, let's see, Kobe White is producing at a 0.67 DK points per minute clip, and Javonte Green is producing at a 0.68 DK points per minute clip, so they both don't really produce at the highest rate. That's what's a little bit scary to me. Not really sure that I want to go there, especially with some really solid options on the other side of this Lakers squad that do produce at a bit of a higher rate for us today. So I don't know. These guys are decent value options, but I think that you might want to tread a little bit lightly. DeAndre Jordan might see some increased run at 3K with there being no Kent Bazemore. They've been a little bit reluctant to give him a lot of minutes, so I'm not too convinced about that. But Reeves is ruled out as well. So I do think the two guards in Rajon Rondo and the newly signed Isaiah Thomas are both pretty intriguing value plays. 3-9 and 3-8. Isaiah Thomas played 22 minutes last time. That game turned into a blowout. Rajon Rondo at 3-8 at 22 minutes. I think we could see both of these guys play in the upper 20s minutes or so in this game, with there being no Kent Bazemore. And if that's the case, in the upper 3K range, they both have the upside to surpass their price tags pretty easily here. I mean, the Lakers don't really have other options. They have Wayne Ellington off the bench that's going to play a lot of minutes, or I'm sorry, in the starting lineup that's going to play a lot of minutes, but he's really reliant on his shooting, and he doesn't really produce at a high rate. And then when you factor in that Rajon Rondo and Isaiah Thomas are going to come off the bench, and they're one of the only bench guys they have, I think they're going to get a lot of minutes and a lot of usage, and they produce at a much higher rate than these other Bulls guys. So I am leaning towards playing quite a bit of those two guys. And like I said, I do think Carmelo Anthony is a pretty great value play as well. And the pay-up option is going to be LeBron James. LeBron James is going to have a tremendous amount of upside with there being no Anthony Davis. He should go into takeover mode. And speaking of takeover mode, we have another game with some injuries. Luka Doncic, Anthony Edwards both ruled out in this game. That's going to make me like Kristaps Porzingis, Karl-Anthony Towns, D'Angelo Russell, the pay-up options with increased usage on both of their respective teams. As far as the total in this game comes in right now with a 213 over-under with a 3-point spread in favor of the Minnesota Timberwolves. And my lock of the night is D'Angelo Russell. I'm very high on D'Angelo Russell on both websites, specifically DraftKings, though, where he's priced in the mid-7K range. That's just too cheap. On FanDuel at 8K, I love him as well. But on DraftKings, I think D'Angelo Russell is just an absolute smash play. I picked him as my parlay play of the day as well. For the player prop. So if you're just tuning into the stream, make sure you lock that in. Head on over to Parlay Play. Use my link. Use code KJK003 and take the over for D'Angelo Russell and Kristaps Porzingis. I like them both a lot in this game. And I think it's an easy pick. I have both these guys projected for 40 fantasy points plus, and their lines are barely over 30 and in the high 20s. So I absolutely love that pick. Head on over to Parlay Play today. Use code KJK003. You can use my link in the description, my link in the chat, and lock those picks in. Feeling very confident about it. I'm putting in $25 to multiply it by 3. And I will also be getting a lot of exposure to D'Angelo Russell in my daily fantasy sports lineups because he's my lock of the night, obviously. I am locking him in. Love the play tonight. Too cheap over here on DraftKings, so going to really want to be getting some exposure to him. Patrick Beverley, Malik Beasley also going to see a big bump up in usage with there being no Anthony Edwards, so those two guys are very intriguing. Patrick Beverley's only 5'2", Malik Beasley only 4'7". They both certainly can surpass that pretty easily if they get going. Both guys put up 30-plus last time. If they do that again at their respective price tags on this slate tonight, you're going to be very happy with that. So I do like both of them. Jalen Brunson definitely still going to be a good play. It's just that his price tag's kind of starting to get adjusted for his role. So don't get me wrong, I have no issues with you playing him. He's just not quite as much of a smash play as he was before. I mean, he's got to go out there and put up 40-plus for you realistically for you to be too happy. And not that he can't do that, but I think there's some other guys that are priced more respectably or just have more upside that I would rather go to. So not a bad play, but definitely not as good of a play as he was for quite some time there. Maxi Kleber and Trey Burke are both going to be two guys coming off the bench that are playing quite a bit of minutes that you could be putting in your lineups that are a little bit on the riskier side, but that both produce at a pretty high rate. And once again, tournament plays. If you'd like to go there, I certainly think that they are decent plays that you could be looking to in your tournament lineups. Tim Hardaway Jr. being the last one that I'd be looking to. He put up 38 points last time out. Once again, a guy that's very scoring reliant for the most part. He was able to grab 9 rebounds last time out. That's not exactly a common occurrence with Tim Hardaway Jr., so you're mostly relying on him to score. Certainly has a lot of upside, but just keep that in mind. Not a lot of peripheral stats to go along with it. And like I said, Kristaps Porzingis as a pay-up option makes a ton of sense to me. With there being no Luka Doncic, he should get a bunch of usage. Last time out, played 39 minutes. He put up 46 DraftKings points. He has upside that could surpass that by quite a large margin when he gets going. So, he could go out there and put up 60 any given night with no Luka Doncic in the lineup. Last game is going to be Charlotte taking on Phoenix in this one. Okay, guys, this game is going to be a really fast one. The problem is going to be both these teams are starting to get healthy. We just talked about a bunch of teams dealing with injuries, a bunch of teams dealing with a bump up in usage. These two teams are getting a bunch of their guys back, and the price tags haven't really been adjusted accordingly. So it's a 7.5-point spread in favor of the Phoenix Suns. It is a 230 over/under. I have no issues with you paying up in this game because of the fast pace for LaMelo Ball. I think that he could be a really great option if the game does stay close. He's going to be the reason that it does, because Charlotte are the underdogs in this game. Like I said, a pretty decent spread with a 7.5-point spread. LaMelo Ball really dominates the usage in this offense. He would be someone that I'm looking to. I'm just getting a little bit skeptical to be targeting the rest of these Charlotte guys with all these guys returning. Like Terry Rozier, Miles Bridges, Gordon Hayward, Kelly Oubre. They're all back now. PJ Washington. This rotation was really banged up for quite some time, so we were playing these guys a lot. And it's not so much the case now. So I would be price tag hunting in this game. So like PJ Washington at 5'6", I think makes a lot of sense because he's in the mid 5K range, consistently putting up, 30-plus DraftKings points when he does get a lot of minutes. If you want to go down to him as a cheap play, I do think that makes sense. But my interest in this game is a lot less, especially if Devin Booker's ruled in. He was a full participant in Saturday's practice, so I do expect him to be ruled in. That's going to take a hit to Chris Paul and DeAndre Ayton's usage as well. So it's just a game I think I'm not going to be getting quite as much exposure to because of all the other games with injuries and bumps up in usage, which is a little bit ironic because it is a very fast up-tempo game, the highest total on the slate. So just be picky with who you play in this game. Make sure it's a guy that certainly has the upside to surpass his price tag. If you want to pay up for LaMelo Ball, I do think it makes a lot of sense. But you also have to keep in mind, like looking at my premium content over here on Patreon and looking at my defensive half-court and putbacks tool as far as how these teams have fared defensively. The Phoenix Suns are a very good defense. They are number 2 in the league in points per possession rank on my premium content tools, and they've been really effective at slowing down opposing offenses. So it's a bit of a catch-22. Is expected to stay close. Is expected to, stay close as far as it's not like a double-digit spread or anything. And then when you're looking at the defensive stats for these teams, Charlotte, definitely a team that you could target. Pulling up, give you guys a little bit of a sneak peek some of my premium content. I've been pulling the sheet up on the screen just to give you kind of an idea of what I have to offer over here on Patreon and to give you a free sneak peek, trying to give back to the people for tuning in. This is one of my sheets, the defensive shooting accuracy sheet, so you can go ahead and look at which teams are defending which shots effectively and which teams are giving up the most scoring in certain categories. So, for instance, the Portland Trailblazers are dead last in the league in efficiency field goal percentage rank, so that means they're giving up a lot of scoring. So, obviously, they're going to be a tremendous team to target. They're on the slate tonight. We talked about the Portland-Memphis game. If you want to target some of these Memphis guys, they're in a great spot, especially some of the shooters. Dylan Brooks, Desmond Bane from the arc, Tyus Jones. We talked about them getting a big bump up. And then specifically, when you go over to the three-pointer on my sheet, and I'll go ahead and sort it by the most threes given up, you can see Memphis and Portland are the 2 worst teams in the league as far as giving up three-pointers. So Memphis, Portland, what does that tell you? The three-point shooters in the Memphis-Portland game are going to be in a tremendous spot. So who are we talking about? We're talking about Damian Lillard. We're talking about Desmond Bane. We're talking about Dylan Brooks. We're talking about all of these shooters in this Portland-Memphis game being in tremendous spots. And if you do become a premium content member of mine, this is one of the 16 sheets I have. This is only one of them, the defensive shooting accuracy. I will go ahead and put the premium content link in the chat. You can head on over to KJK DFS Patreon. It's a patreon.com/KJK_DFS. And like I said, I will keep this sheet up on the screen just to give you guys a free sneak peek and maybe let you lock in on some picks for tonight. And I'll also be answering any of your questions in the chat. So hopefully that's helpful. And I think we did a little bit of a game-by-game there. I'll be running over to FanDuel as well, breaking down some of those stats. Nick says, do you think DeRozan is a good play with LaVine still out? Yeah, 100%. I think DeRozan gets a tremendous bump up in his usage. He should have a bunch of upside. Yes, he is a fantastic play. It's just a matter of your roster construction and whether you can really fit him in your lineups. But I don't think you're going to have an issue with being able to fit him in with all this value that we have. Lots of teams dealing with injuries. Lots of opportunities to have guys step up that are underpriced now. And for that reason, I do think that you should be able to fit DeRozan in your lineup. If you want to make him a priority, I do think he's a great play. So yeah, guys, we did a game-by-game breakdown there. Any questions in the chat, please let me know. I will be answering them. I'm willing to hang out till 5:30. Then I got to bounce out of here, get in the Discord chat, update my projections, help out my Patreon members, answer all their questions in the Discord, update my core plays. Like I said, if you are interested, you can check out my package. It's a grand total of $19.99 a month. I'm also offering a holiday discount for the Discord package. That's usually $10 a month. I knocked it down to $1. Might be keeping it at $1 because I'm trying to give back to the community. I mean, I want it to continue to grow the community. I want it to be affordable. I can tell you right now, I mean, if you can afford it, the $19.99 KJK DFS NBA package, you're going to be very pleased with. I get a ton of good feedback. Every single person that's joined, that watches my free content, they hop on over here. You get the projections, data sheet, player stats, team stats, play contact stats, my core plays. And I've really gotten some good feedback, so I appreciate the guys that are supporting me over there. And yeah, so Savon says, thank you, man. Just waiting for your FanDuel picks. Appreciate it. Good luck. Yeah, man, I got you. We'll talk about some FanDuel right now. Keep in mind, I got to update my projections. We had some injury news coming out with Rashawn Holmes, so I'm going to be updating my projections right now. And then that'll give us more of an idea. But Russell Westbrook, definitely a good pay-up option over here on FanDuel. He grades out as a great play at 9.7 because there is indeed no Anthony Davis. So he's certainly going to be a much better play, get a lot more upside. He's certainly making a lot of sense to me with the news that there is no Rashawn Holmes tonight. Maytu and Tristan Thompson, I believe, is very cheap over here on FanDuel, if I remember correctly. I believe he's only 4.5. Yeah, or he's 5.1. Okay, so we'll take it. Still 5.1, very easy price tag to be getting in your lineups. With there being no Rashawn Holmes, he should get a lot more run. So there's someone that you could be taking a look to on FanDuel. And like I said, as we're speaking, I am updating my projections. So I will certainly let you know the changes in my projections with all these updates that we got. Rashawn Holmes being ruled out, etc. But those are some guys you could be looking to over here on FanDuel. Another guy that's certainly standing out to me over here on FanDuel that I talked about, he's my lock of the night, would be D'Angelo Russell at 8K. I just think that he's going to have a huge upside game here with there being no Anthony Edwards. That's going to be a big bump up in his usage. I think we see his minutes climb up as well. Only played 27 minutes last time because of that game turning into a blowout. So I think he should get a lot more run, a lot more usage. He is my lock of the night. Love the D'Angelo Russell play, so he's certainly someone I'd be taking a look to over here on FanDuel. Continuing further along on FanDuel, one thing that's interesting to me on FanDuel is Rajon Rondo is the minimum salary at the point guard position. Like I said, I expect him and Isaiah Thomas to get quite a bit of minutes, quite a bit of run with this team dealing with all these injuries. Now we got confirmation there's no Kent Bazemore either. So Rajon Rondo all the way down at the minimum salary on FanDuel I think is a great salary relief option. I mean, it's going to allow you to get a bunch of exposure to pay-up options. I love Karl-Anthony Towns with there being no Anthony Edwards. I love D'Angelo Russell, like I said. A guy like a Kristaps Porzingis with there being no Luka Doncic is going to be a great play. Obviously, LeBron James with no Anthony Davis should be a big priority for you in your lineup. So I think that locking in some Rajon Rondo exposure over there on FanDuel certainly makes a lot of sense. He's minimum salary. He's not going to have to do a whole lot to surpass that price tag. And it's going to give you the ability to play a lot of guys that you want to play in your lineups in the upper range. So certainly do have interest in playing him. And yeah, you should be able to fit in LeBron James pretty easily. Someone had asked me about DeMar DeRozan. DeMar DeRozan's certainly a fantastic play over here on FanDuel at 8.5 because there is no Zach LaVine. He should get a big bump up returning from injury. He's been playing in the mid to upper 30s in minutes, producing at a very high rate on the season as far as his per-minute production. Over on FanDuel, looking at his per-minute production, let's see here. He's been putting up on the season 1.16 FanDuel points per minute, so that is very solid. And, you know, with there being no LaVine, that per-minute usage could even go up even more. So certainly like DeMar DeRozan quite a bit. And yeah, there's a few picks for you over there on FanDuel. I think we did a pretty good job of running it down. I'll certainly answer any more questions you have, but Damian Lillard priced at $1,000 cheaper over on FanDuel. Certainly take advantage of that pricing discount. Put up 59.8 FanDuel points last time. There's still no CJ McCollum. I just talked about it, looking at my defensive shooting accuracy tool as far as how these teams have fared defending the three-pointer. They're both the bottom two teams in the league as far as defending the three-point shot. The Memphis Grizzlies currently rank as the 30th best team against the three-pointer, and the Portland Trailblazers rank as the 29th best team. So there should be plenty of opportunities to cash in on some three balls in this game. Obviously, that's one of Damian Lillard's strong suits, so playing Damian Lillard in this game is going to make a lot of sense to me. And like I said, I'm going to be updating my projections right now as we speak. and I'll have an idea of some guys that I got a big bump up with this injury news. Obviously, we got the Rashawn Holmes news that he is indeed ruled out. That's going to give a big bump up to Tristan Thompson in May too, so we'll talk about that. But yeah, let me know if you guys have any more questions. I'm going to keep this up. Guys, this is a sneak peek in my premium content. Like I said, this is only one sheet of the 16 I offer. This is my defensive shooting accuracy sheet. So this is breaking down how all the teams have fared against opposing shooters defensively. And like I said, that Memphis-Portland game, those two teams are ranked dead last and second to dead last at defending the three-pointer. So certainly going to be a tremendous spot for Damian Lillard. Makes a lot of sense to be on this slate tonight. And definitely someone you're going to want to be having interest in. All right, so let's see. I'm updating my projections right now for my premium content members. You can check it out. I'm going to have my latest run up right as we speak, so that'll be good. You can take a peek at this sheet. Colin says, what's up, KJK? Sorry I'm late, but what did I miss? Favorite plays on DK. My favorite play of the night probably would be D'Angelo Russell. He's my lock of the night. Absolutely love him. We got some more confirmation on some guys being ruled out and stuff, though, that we will talk about. But D'Angelo Russell, absolutely love the play. I think he's going to surpass his price tag very easily over there on DraftKings specifically because they have him just way underpriced in my opinion. He's only 7.4, I believe, over here on DraftKings. Yeah, 7.4. I mean, that's a really cheap price tag. There's no Anthony Edwards. He's going to get a big bump up in usage. I think he's just going to absolutely smash this price tag tonight. So D'Angelo Russell is going to be a big priority for my lineups. Karl Anthony Towns is going to get a big bump up in usage as well. So he's someone that you can be looking to. We talked about Damian Lillard, because if you're just tuning into the stream and you didn't see, gave everyone a little bit of a sneak peek behind the scenes of my premium content tools. And you can see, looking at my sheet, as far as defending the three-point line, the Memphis Grizzlies and the Portland Trail Blazers are dead last and second to dead last in the league. So I think that this is a smash spot for Damian Lillard. I think this is a smash spot for pretty much any three-point shooter in that game. Dylan Brooks, we talked about on the Memphis Grizzlies side of things. Tyus Jones. Norman Powell, another guy that I didn't quite bring up, but he's going to be the kind of the secondary option to a Damian Lillard. So another guy in that game that you could certainly be targeting on DraftKings. You get that three-point bonus for every three-pointer made, and this is a tremendous spot for those three-point shooters. So Self says, KJK, what up, man? Do you also play NFL DFS? Yeah, man, I do. My schedule is crazy. I work in an office and do marketing for about 5 different real estate companies. So this is all through my media company. I opened up my media company in March, started this YouTube channel. So I do stream for you guys every night, but I have a lot of other stuff going on as well. So the NFL content, unfortunately, has taken a backseat, so I apologize for that. It's just I have a lot of stuff going on, so I'm just focusing on the NBA content right now. I'm starting a live stream. That's new to the channel. I've been live streaming for probably a little bit over a month now. So yeah, I do. Unfortunately, with everything going on, it's gotten a little crazy. But I'm here every day for NBA. Trying to get back on the NFL train too. I just don't know if it's going to happen. Being realistic with myself and my schedule, I have to stay consistent at least on one thing. And I have my premium content. I got to update that every night for all my premium members. It gets a little too crazy doing both. So I'm trying to figure that all out. I want to do both, but it's a lot. Savant says, IT or Rondo? I don't know which site you're playing on, man. It depends. On DraftKings, IT and Rondo are very similar. On FanDuel, Rajon Rondo is all the way down the minimum salary. Isaiah Thomas is in the mid-range. So, I mean, they're kind of two different plays. They're both decent plays. I think I have to go with Rondo if there's a $2,000 difference. Isaiah Thomas got priced up to 5.5. Rajon Rondo is only 3.5. So as far as their upside at their respective price tags, I think I have to go with Rajon Rondo. Casey says, who do you like on DraftKings? I think we already kind of went over that. If you have any more questions, please let me know. I'll certainly get to them. And I just made that update of my projections. So let's go ahead and pull this up here on my side screen. Give you guys a little bit of an update as to what I'm looking to. But I think we already kind of covered it quite a bit. I certainly would be getting a lot of exposure to the Sacramento Kings on both websites. Halliburton, Barnes, Buddy Hield, Maytu, Tristan Thompson, with there being so many injuries on this Sacramento squad. The Lakers are the same way, dealing with a lot of injuries. So certainly have interest in that. Nightmare says, Westbrook out, question mark. Not that I'm aware of, man. I did not see anything on that. I guess I can go over here and check on Twitter, but I did not see that Russell Westbrook was out. No, Russell Westbrook's in. Anthony Davis is out, though. Mikhail says, Bay or Barnes on DK? I'd have to go with Barnes. Barnes is going to get about the solidified minutes. The Sacramento Kings are really banged up. He has guaranteed minutes in the mid-30s, a lot of usage, and he's also in one of the fastest-paced games on the slate. Looking at the total in the San Antonio Spurs-Sacramento Kings game, it's a 226.5 over-under as compared to the Detroit Pistons game, which is only a 207.5 over-under. And so, yeah, I would have to go with Harrison Barnes there. Isaiah says, why are people playing Rondo? People are playing Rondo because the Lakers are completely banged up. They have a ton of injuries, and one of the guys that they had playing a bunch of minutes as is in Kent Bazemore also just got ruled out. So if you look at the Lakers' active roster, look at their bench. They have Rajon Rondo, Isaiah Thomas, Brown, Huff, and Ariza on the bench. And there's a solid chance they just run Rajon Rondo and Isaiah Thomas as much as they can to fill in for the other Lakers guys. And all of these Lakers guys should be a priority for you in your lineups because they're going to have an extreme amount of usage. So that would be why people are playing Rondo. And if you're asking me if I give you the green light to play Rondo, my answer would be yes. I do think that you should be playing Rondo. Colin says, any interest for Brunson on DK? I said I have some interest in Brunson. I just don't have as much interest as we have in the past because his price tag's finally starting to adjust for his role here. He's 7'1". We were playing him when he was like 5'3", 5'8", 6'7". It's very easy to play a guy when he's that underpriced, but now that they're starting to finally ramp his price tag up, obviously Nick said, just Okogie's out. Yeah, he is. I don't know if I just pronounced that right, but I know who you're talking about. He's on the Minnesota side of things. Josh Okogie, he is out. As far as how many minutes he's been playing per night, he's been playing like 10 minutes per night, so I don't think that's the biggest piece of news, to be honest with you. If anything, that maybe just makes us like Malik Beasley even more than we already did. His 4.7 price tag. So if you were having any questions or doubts about playing Malik Beasley, I think that he is a pretty good game. Nightmare says, why avoid players from low total games? Shouldn't you just choose the studs from that game? So yeah, that's what I'm saying though. It depends like on the circumstances. So like that game that we talked about that's low scoring, you could certainly have some interest in some guys. So Kyle Lowry, the whole entire side of the Miami side is out. And if that's the case, he's obviously going to have a lot of usage, a lot of responsibility. So he could certainly get there at his price tag. And the same can be said for Cade Cunningham, where there being no Jeremiah Grant. But you have to understand there's other games that are faster paced dealing with more injuries. So, I mean, like the Sacramento squad, look at how many injuries they have. Rashawn Holmes is out. De'Aaron Fox is out. Marvin Bagley's out. Terrence Davis is out. Alex Lenz is out. Davion Mitchell's out. So it's a faster-paced game, and all these guys are out. So Halliburton, Harrison Barnes, Maytu, Tristan Thompson, they're all going to be forced into more minutes and more usage. So am I going to play the guys from the low total game when their team's healthier, when I can play a team that's not as healthy with guys at a discount and a faster-paced game? No, I'm not. It doesn't make sense to do that. So that's my answer there. It depends upon the circumstances, man. Sometimes you can play, yeah, certainly. But, yeah. All right, guys, I'm going to continue to answer questions. If you could please take a second to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell if you haven't already so you don't miss any future content that I upload. That would be greatly appreciated. Continues to support my content. Do appreciate everyone that's tuning into the stream right now. 17 likes. Our goal is 20 likes per stream. So thank you to everyone that has hit that like button. Do greatly appreciate it. And I will continue to answer your questions up until 5:30. Then I got to bounce out of here, update my projections, my core plays, all that fun stuff. Help out my Patreon members. If you are interested in becoming a KJK DFS Patreon member, you can head on over here to patreon.com/KJK_DFS. I'm going to put that link in the chat. And I have premium NBA projections, my NBA data sheet, player stats, team stats, play contact stats, core plays, all that fun stuff. And I'm also offering a holiday discount for the Discord package where you can hop in there for only $1 all month of December. That's usually $10, making it very affordable for you during the holiday season, trying to give back to you guys. And thank you once again for supporting the content. And the other thing I want to mention is my Parlay Play of the Day. If you did not know, Parlay Play is the sponsor of this channel. I have 2 picks that I really like over here, D'Angelo Russell and Kristaps Porzingis. I'm going to take the over parlay points for both of them. I have them both projected for 40+. There is no Luka Doncic in this game, which is going to give Kristaps Porzingis a big bump up. There is no Anthony Edwards in this game, which is going to give D'Angelo Russell a big bump up. And I'm going to put the link in the chat for that as well. Parlay play, sign up, use promo code KJK003. If you click on that link, it'll auto use that promo code. They will match your first deposit up to $50 when you use the promo code, and they also will give you a free $10 for your first couple entries if you are interested. So check them out, lock in those 2 picks, and how you do that, you'd head on over, select the Timberwolves and Mavericks game, click on the player, and change it to D'Angelo Russell and or Kristaps Porzingis, and then above their head there, you can pick points, assists, or parlay points. I am picking parlay points, so that's parlay plays format of fantasy points, and it should be a very easy win over here on parlay play. So check them out, sponsor the channel, love the format. It's a player prop format, so love it. Let's see. Eric says, thoughts on DeAndre Jordan at 4K on FanDuel could be a sneaky play with no AD or Dwight if he gets to start. Yeah, here's the problem. I think he's a risky play that could pay off big for you, because if you look at the game logs and stuff, even with those guys out, they're still continuing to run him a lot of minutes. But with that being said, Kent Bazemore got ruled out as well, and Kent Bazemore was playing a quite large allotment of minutes. But if you look, like the last few games, Dwight and Anthony Davis have been out. He still only played like 8 or 9 minutes. But with that being said, let's see how many minutes Kent Bazemore was playing, because Kent Bazemore is out tonight. Kent Bazemore, 24 minutes last time out. So now those minutes have to go somewhere. So maybe DeAndre Jordan does get some more minutes tonight. I do think it's a little bit risky, though. I could see them just going small ball here. Looking at their active roster, though, they don't have a lot of options. They have Westbrook, Ellington, LeBron James, Carmelo Anthony, DeAndre Jordan, Rajon Rondo, Isaiah Thomas. I do think that DeAndre Jordan is going to be kind of forced into more minutes. But they have been a little reluctant to give him minutes. And for that reason, man, I guess it can be a little bit sketchy, but he's the minimum salary over here on DraftKings is the interesting thing. He's only 3K on DraftKings. On FanDuel, you only get 1 center, and that's where it makes it very difficult. And there's an opportunity cost there. If you play DeAndre Jordan and he goes out there and doesn't really do much, if he puts up like 20, then you're not going to be really happy with that on FanDuel. If he puts up 20 on DraftKings at only a 3K price tag, you can live with that all day. So that's a bit of a tough thing on FanDuel. Let's see. A lot of questions. All right, let me try to get to this. Do you think Westbrook will get over 43.5 FanDuel points? I can tell you my base projection for him right now. For Russell Westbrook, yes. Yes, I do. I have him projected for over 50 FanDuel points. So I think that Russell Westbrook does get over that. Do you like Brunson or Porzingis more tonight? I would go with Porzingis more. Rondo or IT on DraftKings. I like both. That's a little bit tough where they're a lot closer price over there. I mean, the fact of the matter is I can see myself playing both of them in a lot of lineups. I got to be honest with you. They're both just so cheap, and this Lakers squad's so banged up. They're going to have to play them. They have to play these guys at least in the mid-20s in minutes, if not in the 30s. And they're both priced in the high 3K range, both produced on a really good permanent basis. So I don't know, man. That's tough. I can tell you right now who I have graded out as a better projection. That'll answer your question. Let's see. I would prefer Isaiah Thomas. Isaiah Thomas I have graded out as a better play. Not by that much, though. I got to be honest. Not by that much. Nick says, I thought Thomas was bumped up to 5.5. He is 5.5 on FanDuel. So that's probably why you got confused. Isaiah Thomas is 5.5 on FanDuel. So it's a lot different of a play over here on FanDuel. It's not quite as easy to just lock him in your lineups. On DraftKings, he's really cheap. Oh, Isaiah says Vucevic Towns. They're kind of priced at different price ranges. I'd probably go with Karl Anthony Towns, even though he's priced up more. I just really like him with there being no Anthony Edwards. I think he gets a big bump up in pace, and I'm not too worried about the matchup and the defense. Vucevic is only 9.2. Yeah, I like them both. I mean, I just think that Karl Anthony Towns has a lot less worry of usage being taken away from him. Nikola Vucevic could still get minutes and usage taken away from him from a DeMar DeRozan and a Lonzo Ball. And some of these other guys returning on this Chicago squad. I know he should do good, but I don't know. Dallas taking on Minnesota. I think it's a better game environment. And Karl Anthony Towns and D'Angelo Russell, I think, are just going to shoot a ton. I think it's like a guaranteed 20-plus shots for both of those guys almost. So, yeah. Let me know if you have any more questions, guys. If you could take a second to hit that like button if you're in the stream. Trying to get to 20 likes per stream. That would be greatly appreciated. I think we're in a pretty good spot here. I think we answered most questions. If you do have any more really urgent questions, please do ask them now. I'll stick around to answer them. You can also follow me over on my social medias. At KJK_DFS for all social media. I'm on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram. Facebook, I'm at KJK DFS because they don't allow for underscores in your username. But I also do put out content over there. Isaiah says, do you like Lonzo Ball? He should smash. Been playing 40 minutes a night, bro. Yeah, I like Lonzo Ball. I think that Lonzo Ball and DeMar DeRozan both get a big bump up with there being no Zach LaVine. That's going to be a big deal because they're both going to get a lot more on-ball handling responsibilities and a lot more usage. So Nick says, I'm a Laker fan. I like Lonzo tonight. Yeah, there's also like a little bit of a revenge narrative. You got to keep in mind, Lonzo, they kind of just let him go. Lonzo always wanted to be a Laker. You know, the whole backstory with the Lonzo and the Ball brothers and all that fun stuff. And they let him go, shipped him out of town. He's kind of revamped his career in Chicago. Chicago's a really fun team to watch, too, man. They've been really good this year. So I'm certainly enjoying watching those guys play together. The class says, Lowry or Porzingis? The sheets say Porzingis, but I just don't trust him at all. Well, Porzingis is one of my top projected guys. I like Porzingis quite a bit. So, I certainly do like Kristaps Porzingis, if that's what you're asking. I like him a lot. So, I certainly would have no issues with you going to him on this slate tonight. Your thoughts on Lonnie against that terrible Kings D? Lonnie Walker, yeah, you could go to him. He's a really risky tournament option. So if you want to go to him, sure. But I mean, that's a very risky, could pay off option. So just, I mean, I wouldn't be feeling too confident about it. I think that it could certainly pay off for you in your tournament lineups, but I don't think that Lonnie Walker is a lock or anything along those lines by any means. The class says, you like him over Lowry? On a pure scoring, like as far as who's going to score more fantasy points, yes, I do. All right, guys, but I got to get out of here. I got to update my projections, update my core plays, update all the stuff for my premium members. If you enjoyed the stream, please take a second to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future content that I upload. That would be greatly appreciated. I'll be here all NBA DFS season long, breaking down these NBA DFS slates. Help you guys become better NBA DFS players. Help you win some money night in and night out. And I am going to get out of here. So wish you guys all the best of luck tonight. We'll catch you in the next one. Good luck tonight, guys. And peace.